Hey guys, what's up? This is Bharat Nagpal. You're watching iGyaan. We recently reviewed the 2070 Super, and today we're going to be checking out the 2080 Super and telling you how much of a performance upgrade it offers to you in comparison to the 2070 Super and also in comparison to the original vanilla 2080. Let's quickly get started. Now, because of the new launches from AMD, NVIDIA had already dropped the prices of their cards at the time of launch. So the RTX 2080 Super, which is the card that we're checking out today, launches for a price of 61,400 rupees. This is about 5,000 rupees cheaper than what was originally planned for this card. Now, NVIDIA claims that these cards offer 10 to 20% increase over their non-super variants. So the 2080 and the 2080 Super only vary by just about 10% or 20% in terms of performance depending on where you're using it. 2080 Super has 3072 CUDA cores and a base clock of 1650 MHz with a boost clock of 1815 MHz. The card gets 8GB of GDDR6 graphics memory along with a 15.5 gigabit per second memory speed and a memory bandwidth of 496 gigabytes per second. Now this does have NVIDIA ray tracing cores as well as tensor cores, and you also get NVIDIA DLSS, which does help improve the graphics performance while ray tracing is enabled. Right off the bat, the card that we get is a launch edition card, so it looks almost identical to the 2070 Super that we checked out last week. This is a 2-slot card and consumes about 250 watts of power, and it is recommended to be used with a 650 watt power supply. Now it supports a maximum display resolution of 7680 by 4320 pixels and a maximum of 4 monitor output. You do get 2 display ports, 1 HDMI and also a DVI port on the back. Now while the looks will vary from manufacturer to manufacturer, this in itself, the one that we get from NVIDIA, is a pretty good looking card and also has green LED lighting. Now this card is also not the quietest card, with the fans running at idle at 52.5 decibels and peaking out at around 58.5 decibels. It's still not one of the loudest cards that we've seen, and it's quite manageable in terms of the sound environment. Now while running MSI's Combustor, we managed to get about 280 FPS on our ultra-wide monitor over here with a maximum GPU temperature of about 83 degrees Celsius, which is quite manageable at a GPU load of about 90%. With the lower resolution, we easily managed upwards of 400 frames per second, which is a similar case found with the 2070 Super. On Geekbench, we get a score of 3 lakh or about 300,000, which is considerably more than the 2070 Super and also slightly more than the Radeon 5700 XT. On 3D Mark, achieving a score of 10,227, it's not that much of a difference between the 2070 Super, which also scores around 10,000. Similar results on the 3D Mark Ray Tracing Test Port Royal, which gives it a score of 6185, while the 2070 Super achieves an average of 6,000 and the 2080 Ti gets a score of around 7,000. So in terms of the difference between 2070 Super and the 2080 Super, we're not seeing that much of a difference, whereas in terms of price, we're seeing quite a big difference in terms of price. The 2070 Super is priced at 43,600, whereas the 2080 Super is priced at 61,400. For a almost 20,000 rupee price difference, we're only seeing an improvement of around 2 to 3% as far as benchmarks are concerned. Let's move over to gaming and see how that works on the 2080 Super. The PC version of PUBG works at 4K resolution, giving out a constant 60 FPS. If you move to 1080 pixels as the resolution, you'll get anywhere from 145 to 160 FPS. Now this is with everything put to max or ultra and with graphics running at peak performance. If we talk about Metro Exodus, with ray tracing and 1080p and DLSS off, we are getting about 90 to 100 FPS. With DLSS on, we get an improvement of about 10 to 20 FPS, so you can get upwards of 120 FPS if you enable DLSS with ray tracing. If you disable DLSS and ray tracing, you get a good overall boost in terms of performance and you get 140 to 150 FPS. On 4K with ray tracing, we're getting anywhere from 53 frames per second to 60 frames per second with DLSS enabled. So if you disable DLSS, you will lose another 6 to 7 FPS in terms of performance. Finally, we also tried Battlefield, and at 1080p with ray tracing disabled, we get 130 to 140 FPS, and at 4K, we get a constant 60 FPS with everything turned out to max. Another aspect that is different from the 2070 Super is the fact that you get an additional approximate 500 CUDA cores, where the 2070 Super has only 2560 CUDA cores. The 2080 Super has 3072 CUDA cores. This is a good improvement, and for those who are into graphics or editing will definitely see a benefit of this. Whereas on the gaming side of things, we're not seeing that much of an improvement, and also on the benchmark side of things, we're not seeing that much of an improvement as far as the pricing difference between these two cards goes. So you're better off buying a 2070 Super, which will save you quite a lot of money and not lose out on a lot of the performance that you should have gotten with the 2080 Super, but you're not really getting. Or at least in our test, that's what we got. If you have any questions or queries, do drop them in the comment section below. If you want more information on the 2080 Super, we'll leave a link in the description below as well. And if you're interested in buying the 2080 Super, we'll leave a link to that in the description below as well. Go check out our review for the 2070 Super. And if you like this video, don't forget to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a part of Team iGyaan. This has been Bharat Nagpal. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.
I don't know if what we had was just a waste of time. You got 70,000 friends.